Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the What Was That podcast. I'm Jazzy.
And I'm Addi.
We've been up to a lot of spooky things lately.
We've gone ghost hunting, we saw Undertone.
And all of these things have had a theme of summoning.
You know what? You're right. Have you ever summoned anything?
Other than an ex, no.
Well, you know what they say. You win summon, and you lose summon.
We're talking about summoning things. Demons, ghosts, spookies. Okay, but if you go back to our episode where we did the voicemails, that kind of like ticked it off in my head. Because you said when you were doing the research and you were listening to everything, you're like, I feel like I'm going to summon something. Mm-hmm. And then we saw, is it overtone, undertone?
Undertone.
We saw undertone.
Overtone's the hair dye.
Thank you. That is actually a very nice distinction for my brain. We saw undertone. And I'm like, this is basically Addison doing the research for this episode, but I feel like I didn't like the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't
like it.
It was like, I gave it a 5 out of 10 because if anything has like okay script writing and okay acting and like an okay set, then, and like cinematography, then I have to at least give it a 5 in my brain.
Fair.
And I feel like the cinematography was really good. It was like very A24 with like the, you know, the tight angles.
Yeah,
and
the rotating shots.
So I can appreciate that aspect and the artistry of it, but I think it was stupid.
Yeah, it didn't go far enough.
No.
You get to like right when you're like, okay, shit's about to like get good. Mm-hmm. And then the movie was over.
And it just ends.
It just ends.
And they're like, use your imagination. And you're like, I don't want to use my imagination. That's why I came to see a movie.
Well, and there's like little lines, I think we talked about this, where they're like, don't be afraid of the dark, be afraid of the silence. And I was like, oh, they do have a lot of like dark things, so I know not to look for things in there. I know to look when it's quiet.
Yeah.
And then they just didn't really do anything.
Yeah, they didn't expand on that at all. And they like didn't really expand on the fact that like she was pregnant. Mm-hmm. And like they kind of insinuate to it a couple times, but like nothing goes really like further with it. I'm like, why? What's the point of bringing it up? And I also just thought it was interesting that like you didn't see another person besides the mom and the main character the entire movie,
right?
Which is like in some cases really good, but I feel like the story needs to be fulfilling for the fill in for the lack of characters and the lack of like diversity in the speed and tempo of the movie. And it just like really fell flat. It just felt very flat the whole time.
Well, I felt that way about some of the performances too. I think the main actress was fine, but everyone who was off camera, it just sounded like they were reading things.
Yeah, it almost made it sound like it was like a figment of her imagination.
Right.
Like in some, like when the nurse was in the room and taking care of the mom, I was like, this feels like she's just talking to herself and imagining that somebody else is in there.
Right, which that would have been a cool way to, you know, go about it.
Yeah, but they just didn't do anything with that either. No. It was like, we can only afford to hire 2 actors.
Right, this is actually the producer reading the lines off camera.
And that's what it sounded like too. That's like the lifelessness that it had was like, it sounded like somebody was reading the lines back to you. Like the person, the co-host of the podcast who you only heard over the phone the whole time, Justin.
Yeah.
He sounded like he was just reading lines. Like it didn't really sound like he was actually like invested in anything that was happening. Yeah. Like even in the scary parts, he was just like, "Oh my God,
right? Oh no,
what's happening?
Yeah.
Are you there? Oh no!" Like, yeah, I was like, "Come on, give us something." And yeah, the way that they ended it, which spoilers if you haven't seen it, but I'm like, okay, cool, like all the drawings are on the walls, like they're piecing it into the other instances of this happening, so that's cool. And now we're gonna get to see the demon,
right?
We're gonna get to see what like happens, how the demon, because like we have a lineage here, so we know she's the taker of child. So is she gonna take, like, I'm assuming if she kills the daughter, she's taking both children,
yeah,
which is like cool in a sense, but also I'm like, well, the girl's not a child anymore, she's an adult,
right?
So,
right,
you know. So I don't know, I felt like they definitely could have added on like 10 more minutes,
right,
just a little bit more. Give your audience some closure or some
Right.
idea of what's happening. Don't just like show everything, turn the screen to black, and be like, crash. Credits,
Yeah, like, what? Come on. Lame.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be really good.
I wanted so badly.
It's a cool idea.
It's a great idea, and like for people who have a scary podcast or like something that like focuses on the paranormal or the supernatural, like the idea is really cool, and I mean it draws in them to go watch the movie because they're like, what if this were to happen to us? But it just did not feel, what's the word,
Not realistic.
relatable.
Relatable.
Yeah,
Okay.
relatable. Also, the whole thing of like them having like 90 episodes and like a whole thing of comments and like,
Yeah.
I was like, that's unrelatable.
Okay.
Like,
Super unrelatable because you guys could comment more, just saying. But then also for them to be like, okay, let's like do one, we'll listen to one recording and then we'll take a break.
yeah, and then
I'm
we'll
like,
record 2
yo.
days later.
How long does it take you to get through one episode?
Yeah, it seemed like it took them a week to record one episode, and then
Right.
that leaves like zero time for them to edit, and then they're like, and then we'll put it out Friday. And I'm like, okay, so are you doing like an overnight turnaround? Like,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Recording like 10 minutes at a time and you're like, okay, I'll see you in 2 days.
Yeah. Oh, I'm too scared. We'll record again later. Like,
Lame. And it has to be at 3 a.m. apparently.
yeah,
That's
every
when they
single night.
record.
Well, he was in Italy.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
why.
so
I was
like they're in 2 different time zones. So like
Mhm.
he had moved to Italy with his husband, I think, is
Yeah.
what they like set up in the beginning. So he was there and she's in the US. So like
Yeah.
that's why she had to stay up. Which I'm like, can y'all like alternate?
like trade off.
Yeah. Like I would hate having to stay up till 3 a.m. to record a podcast every night.
No, I wouldn't do that to you.
No,
That's
I wouldn't do
insane.
that to you. Nor would I like want to do that
No.
for you. I'd be like, no, thank you.
Like, no, this is not.
I'll do it once in a while, maybe,
Mhm.
but you couldn't. Yeah, you move
No.
across the country into a different time zone. I'm like, we are scheduling it to where it is like opportune for both of us, or not
Right.
at all.
Right.
Like,
It's like either like morning, evening,
mhm.
but a reasonable hour for both.
Yep.
But 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Come on.
So you can get up at 7 a.m. and record, like, or whatever time, 9 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm like, that doesn't.
That's
No.
not, that's not the same.
Yeah.
That's not fair. Anyway, we hated that movie. Story 1. My summoning experience. A while back, I was going through a tough time in my life where I felt stuck in a perpetual rut without any sight of immediate change. I lost my job, I was out of money, I had to move back in with my folks to prevent from becoming homeless. It almost felt as if everything I had spoke into existence was immediately doomed to fail. I started praying to God in hopes of gaining some strength and wisdom to get through the challenging part of my life, but it seemed like all of my prayers fell on deaf ears. I was already at the end of my rope. Then I went down a rabbit hole of YouTube. That's where it always starts.
Mm-hmm.
And I started taking a deep fascination into the occult. My interest led me to the darker aspects of magic and ritual summoning. I was aware of the general biblical lore of demons and the whole fallout with God since I was raised in a semi-Christian household, but I wanted to know more behind the lore, so I decided to do my own research, and I studied a hierarchy of demons and their power over mankind, as referenced in the 22 Lesser Keys of Solomon. I learned about kings, dukes, princes, marquises, counts, knights, and presidents of hell. Each of the highest and lowest of these entities have the power to bestow great knowledge and destruction and confusion on people, while others have dominion over elements, reversal of fortune, and ability to reveal sacred knowledge and bestow great wealth on whoever the entity desires. This appealed to me the most since I was in a real desperate point in my life, where I was looking for anything to remedy the situation. I finally landed on a demon I wanted to summon. I can't pronounce that. A demon...
It looks like Clowneck.
Clowneck?
Yeah.
Yeah. A demon said to be greatly cherished by Lucifer due to its power over wealth and influence of the heart of man to replace money as the idol of worship. As a test to see if anything would happen, I drew its sigil on a piece of paper and then got myself into a meditative state where I focused on the sigil, channeling my energy and desire into it, for what felt like a good 10 minutes in total. Afterwards, I was pretty exhausted and wanted to sleep. sensing it was pretty late and nothing happened so far. However, I did feel this really odd sense of someone watching me. Around 20 minutes into my sleep, I found myself tossing and turning, unable to shake the feeling of being watched. Then I started hearing small taps along my room. I knew it could have been anyone outside my house since my folks were already fast asleep and no one was up at this point. I decided to do some investigating on the outside and no animal or wind could have been generating that noise, and the house itself is old, but to my knowledge, it has never generated that sort of noise. I tried to shake it off as just being a rodent or something, so I climbed back into bed, shutting my eyes to sleep, until I felt this invisible pressure on my legs. It almost felt like someone was sitting on my legs, and I started feeling this static-like sensation over my body. At this point, I got up, and I was creeped the hell out. While hearing the same tapping noise along the room, I went to the living room and grabbed a Bible and started reading random verses from Psalms to Revelations, and I was shocked because the voice that came out wasn't my own. It was deeper and malevolent. I continued reading passages until the voice faded and my normal voice returned. It helped a little, but I didn't sleep that night, and to this day, on occasion, I hear incessant, faint tapping noise. On occasion, I feel like I'm being watched in every dark corner I pass.
Okay, then why'd you do it?
Why'd you do it?
Why'd you do it in the first place?
It seemed like you, wanted it, and you're like, nah.
Yeah, that's so silly. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna summon this demon. Oh no, I summoned this demon.
What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah. And who knows if they actually, like, summon them or not, but
Right.
it could just be, like, one of those
got in
things,
your
the
head.
paranoid, yeah,
Mhm.
where, yeah, they just start overthinking every little thing because they had this intention of summoning this
Right.
demon.
There's actually a mouse in the house.
Yeah. And they give him a cookie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of silly. I do want to know if their financial situation got any better, because if you're
Right.
summoning the demon for that purpose, then hopefully
theory.
it did something.
Their account was banned, so we'll never know.
Oh.
I just imagine them like opening the Bible and like turning to those pages where it's just like this person who is related to this person who is related to that person, and it goes on for like 10 pages. He's just like, is this working?
Yeah, it has like no meaning.
No
Zero
meanings.
meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much of the Bible is just like filler. I
Yeah.
feel like people are like, you can take solace and refuge knowing that like we have all of these like meaningful stories in the Bible, and I'm like, okay.
I feel like
I
that's
can count
true
like
of any folklore.
Yeah, I was like, I can count like 10 stories in like a Bible that's like this thick of like meaningful stuff. But I mean, everybody finds meaning in different things, so who am I to say?
Yeah. No, I think that's like in any folklore, and there's also a lot of overlapping stories in folklore that I'm just like,
Who had it first?
yeah.
Yeah. It's probably the white people that took it from every other culture. So
There is the tendency.
there is a tendency for the evangelicals to,
Specifically those ones.
yeah, specifically those ones.
Yeah.
Those guys, they do like to take things that don't belong to them because they think it's cool, and then they like
Magna Carta.
ostracize them.
Yeah. Like, why are you mad that we murdered you for this thing?
Yeah, what are you talking about? We actually like thought of this first, so
Yeah. Super weird of you. You're gross. We hate you. Done.
yeah, died. Actually, we're gonna hang you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go up.
cool.
Sorry, dude.
I was throwing in there for the recording, I'm sick. So we're moving fast.
We're getting through this.
Story 2. I think I accidentally summoned a demon.
It's like, what do you mean accident?
Yeah. Yeah, how do you accidentally summon a demon? It's like those people that go into like any place, even in Undertone, any place, and they like see like a creepy old book, and they're like, oh my god, it's written in Latin
Yeah.
and it's covered in blood.
Yeah.
Let me read it
Out loud.
in Latin and chant it with
Yeah.
all my friends.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Guys, let's hold hands while we do it.
yeah, light some candles.
That was this. I banged it. with
Oh,
my finger.
okay. Oh, that scared
Yeah,
me.
sorry.
I was like,
A ghost.
Yeah.
No, I sit on my hands so I don't talk with them.
I've literally, we've been talking about ghosts so much lately. I'm like, I went to the bathroom last night, and I can't even like look at my closet now
Yeah.
because I'm just like scared that I'm gonna like look over and something's gonna be like, like
Oh,
staring at
creepy.
me. Hi, sisters. Like, hi, sisters. In the closet. So I've been like super paranoid, and I haven't been sleeping very well.
Yeah.
So I'm like, something's here.
I had a dream last night about the first ghost that we talked about when we were in the Celtic in the basement.
Yeah.
Where she's like down there and she'll be like behind a gate. And
Yeah.
people will be like, oh, there's a drunk lady down here. And the
Yeah.
staff has to go down because they can't leave a drunk lady down there. It's just the ghost.
Yeah.
And they'll like open the gate to let her out. And then she'll like slowly creep into like the back and then like laugh.
Yeah.
And then obviously the workers get freaked out. So I had a dream about that last night. I was at the Celtic. I was going to the bathroom and I saw her in there. I was like, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
That's crazy, because I talked to my tattoo artist about it yesterday, and that's what I chalked it up to, but I also had a nightmare about it last night.
I was talking to Alicia about it.
Oh yeah, I was talking to my tattoo artist about it because I told him all about our ghost tour, and I was like, yeah, the scariest one I think for me was the shop girl.
Yeah.
And then I had a nightmare about it last night, but it wasn't like in the bar, it was in my house.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was like,
Huh.
yeah.
Isn't that a funny little quinky dink?
Yeah.
You know, we say that we share one brain cell anyway, so like
That's
you
what I'm gonna
had the
chalk it up
dream and then
to.
threw it to me, and then
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah.
And yeah, and we just it just got tossed around from our cells.
Yeah, I will
Yeah.
be texting 6 other people with some follow-up questions.
Hey, anybody else dream about this? Okay. I think I accidentally summoned a demon. New to the occult, interested in Ifa, voodoo, and chematism, I stupidly decided to do a divination to the Orisha Obatala after just having a big fight with my wife. Horrible idea. We were staying in a hotel in a town where I could not get any supplies, so I totally rushed it. I did make a salt circle, and I called for Obatala for clarity with a tribute of 3 dates. Now I believe there's a demon in my room. I closed my eyes and meditated over the makeshift altar, calling Obatala and clarity and ancestral knowledge. While I meditated, I imagined myself in a room meditating, waiting for Obatala to come. Instead, a 10-foot tall black creature appeared with giant teeth. It looked almost like Venom from Spider-Man. I tried to block it out, but I couldn't. I asked my relationship questions and got answers in my head, but they seemed very, well, for lack of better words, demonic. Does my girlfriend love me? No. Should I stay with her? No. Type of thing. Then she knocks on the door, and I get out of my trance state. I let her in, and she's really surprised by my setup. We both feel a bad presence in the room. Please, does anyone have any advice on how to sort this out and how to avoid these things moving forward? I tried a banishing ritual, and I believed it helped.
So I would say how does saying no come off as demonic? Because like any woman who has met me in the women's bathroom at a bar, they'll be like, "Does my boyfriend love me?" I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Should I break up with him? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You're too good for him. He's awful. And he's like standing outside the bathroom. He's like, Bethany, you've been in there for like 30 minutes. And
Yeah.
to be fair, he is awful. So I want more clarity on how that's a demonic answer.
Yeah. This
Maybe.
this first comment says it makes sense you're summoning with anger and resentment, and you're going to get some pretty messy creatures clinging to that energy. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
Demons are not summoned on accident.
Also, yeah, they're like, I accidentally summoned a demon as I did a summoning ritual while I was angry and didn't have the proper materials to summon what I was going for.
Yeah, and I actually said a different chant with like a different like sigil and a different meaning, and it actually turned out that it was for a demon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my bad.
Yeah. Oops.
Oopsie. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's so silly. That's so silly.
You didn't do it on accident. You did it on purpose, but it didn't work out like you wanted it to.
Yeah, it didn't reach what you wanted it to reach. It reached something else, maybe, possibly. Right. We don't know what it reached, but you definitely were reaching out to something on purpose with ill intent too. It's not like OP went in there roses and sunshine, like happy, clear of mind. Like this was a very like manic decision on their part, and they were like, I need this now. Like I need to do this now, which is like, I'm like, maybe go seek a mental health professional,
Right.
perhaps.
Right.
Like,
Or like, I don't know. If your question is, does my girlfriend love me? Should I stay with her? Write a pros and cons list. Talk to your girlfriend. There's other things.
journal.
Yeah, you could get these answers in other, like, there's bigger things that
Yeah.
maybe you could be asking other than, like,
Maybe meditate on it yourself.
Yeah.
Meditate on that thought and those questions yourself, not
Right.
seeking assurance from a demonic entity or a
Right.
god even. Like,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just,
It's
if you're gonna do it for something that's, like,
big.
worth it.
Yeah. Not to say that, like, your relationship isn't worth it, but, like, asking, like, should I break up with my girlfriend? Like,
Come on.
that's like going to a Ouija board, like, at a seance to be like, should I break up with Jake?
right.
Yes.
Does
Like,
Justin like me? Yes or no?
yeah, like, that's a little silly.
There's
That's
bigger
a
things
little
happening.
silly. And maybe, like, whatever entity, like, did come in was like, hey, you're wasting my fucking time, so
Right.
I'm just gonna tell you no.
I've got places to be. I've got a sleep paralysis in about 15 minutes that I'm gonna miss because I'm stuck here with you.
Yeah. I've had this booked for weeks.
Yeah.
They took Benadryl like 2 hours ago. I'm already past time at this point.
Yeah.
They're probably already knocked out, dead asleep. I'm not getting to them now.
I gotta push on their legs, damn it.
Yeah, and Amazon already like delivered my bowler cap and my long trench coat. What am I gonna do with those now?
Could you imagine the demon shows up like dressed and ready to go with a little cap? I'm like, come on.
Yeah, this isn't where I was supposed to go? This isn't the Hat Man convention.
Damn it.
I prepped so long for this.
I will say binge watching Supernatural. They're like no salt circle. I was like, amateurs.
Yeah,
If I've
honestly,
learned anything from Sam and Dean, it is get yourself some salt.
yeah. I mean, if
Put it
you're
in a
doing
circle.
any sort of work with any sort of like deity or any sort of like higher being, you're always supposed to do some sort of protection spell, whether that is like having a salt circle or having just like making a circle with your wand that you have, like a protection circle. Like there are steps that are in place for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
They don't talk about it in SpongeBob for no reason, you know? Like,
What?
you don't know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh my god, it's the bear. What is it? Bear shark? Oh my god. Sea bear. It's
Sea
to protect
bear.
against the sea bear attack.
Oh, I remember that episode. Life lessons really do come from cartoons.
Hello. Why is it not playing the sound? Well, it's this one where they're outside and they make a little circle in the ground. There we go. Here it is. They're standing in the circle. They're like, Squidward, get in the circle.
I forgot Squidward has so many legs. I guess it's just weird to
Draws
see
an
him with shoes on.
anti-sea bear circle
Oh yeah.
in the sand.
Fake News Monthly.
That's it. There you go.
That's funny. Accidentally summoning a demon.
Wait, you have to say story 3.
Story 3. Thank you. Accidentally summoning a demon. About a year ago, I was up late at night playing Xbox with my friend online. After playing for a few hours, we started talking about paranormal stuff. We started talking about the TV show Ghost Adventures that we would both watch occasionally. I mentioned an episode where the ghost hunter team contacted a demon through a Ouija board. I don't want to say the name of the demon, but it starts with Z. Zach. So we talk about this episode, and my friend says, dude, I could fuck up a demon. I'm Catholic. Yeah, he does say that. I could fuck up a demon. Okay. I'm Catholic, and I know what to do when one appears. And I say, yeah, I don't think I'd be scared. I mean, what could one do? Huge mistake. As my friend starts to speak, his speech becomes jumbled. Like, I can't really focus on what he's saying. My heart starts beating fast and I get lightheaded. I start to have a panic attack, which has never happened to me before, but it's 100 times more awful. I was overwhelmed with this intense feeling of dread. Something was there in the room with me, crushing me. I couldn't move. I felt the weight of the unexplained horror freezing and immobilizing me. I was freaked out and didn't know what to do. I started to cry, bawling like a baby. I called my friend over the microphone, pleading with him to help me, but he didn't answer. I continued to beg him, but he still didn't. This went on for about a minute that felt like forever until he started to talk, but in some language that I couldn't understand, which freaked me out further. But when he started to speak, the attack subsided. When he stopped talking like that, I asked why the fuck he didn't talk to me, and he spoke to me like he was about to sacrifice me. He was confused. He said he was talking the whole time, and that the weird language speech was apparently a prayer to fend off demons. I get the most horrific panic attack ever right after dissing a demon, and am unable to communicate with my friend until he starts praying. I stayed up all night that night and was unable to get up even to take a piss. The end.
Okay.
Do you think his friend was just saying shit?
Yeah, they started noticing, maybe he was like really high, and he started noticing him like getting higher, and he was like, you're over vision.
They're gonna
Yeah.
He's going full alphabet
He's like
on it.
flicking the lights in the corner too. Like he was like, yeah, I know what was gonna freak him out, because they were just talking about. He was like, what's the demon actually gonna do? And his friend's like,
buckle up, buttercup. This is gonna be hilarious.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it's so funny the way guys talk about stuff like that, because I'm like, what are you gonna do to a demon? An all powerful creature. Like it's not human. You can't just like shoot it, or like hiya, like you can't punch it in the face, you can't drug it, like you can't do the normal tactics that a guy would do, you know?
Right.
You have to go about it in a very specific way, and even if you're Catholic, knowing what to do, like you're not an exorcist, you're not
like what are you gonna
priest,
say,
like,
10 Hail Marys? Like, come on.
yeah. So just being like, yeah, I could fuck up a demon, it's like, brother, get it together.
No. I do think this was a case of like they were talking about it and he got a little bit spooked, especially if he's like a little bit stoned or a lot of bit stoned. And yeah, things were just messing with his head.
Yeah.
And also for him to say, I've never had a panic attack, but this was 100 times more awful.
How would you know?
That might have just been a regular panic attack because they're not great.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah, if you've never had one, but it was 100 times more awful, how would you know?
Yeah, it's called an attack for a reason.
Yeah.
I don't think a demon came in. Sorry. Debunked based on the fact I just don't believe it.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I'm like, two guys telling a story. No.
Yeah, well, I think it partially like discredits in my head as someone who has an Xbox. I'm like, two dudes playing Xbox with their microphones. Like, what are you playing, Call of Duty? I just imagine them very broy douchebags. Also, I'm imagining the demon is Zach from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Oh my god. Jen. Jen, you need to stay home with the baby.
Right.
You can't let your friends treat you like this. I can't keep watching Go Back to Mom Talk.
Right. I didn't come to Disneyland to watch my wife dance with another man.
Oh my god.
And it's like just the like Disney. He's wearing a top hat. You're doing this. Okay. Anyway.
Story 4. My fiance accidentally summoned something in our new home years ago.
Yeah.
So we are moving into a house my fiance grew up with his granny. I noticed the house has a few odd things that happened as I was cleaning it out. The first thing that happened is a clock that his granny had left behind on the wall, and I pulled it down. It had a broken hand, and it had quit working for a few years. When I pulled it down on Friday, it didn't have any batteries in it. I went to use the bathroom, and the clock was ticking and making noise. My fiance grabbed it and brought it to me to show me, and sure enough, it was working. No batteries in it at all. His granny passed in the house a couple years ago, so he assumed that it was her. He's also been walking through the house talking to her. There's an odd feeling in a few parts of the house. I'm nervous that it could be something pretending to be his granny. Quick backstory, my fiance told me that when he was around the age of 16, he and his cousins were on the front porch being teenagers and they were playing Truth or Dare. They dared him to do a ritual they had found online, and of course he did it just to prove them he wasn't scared. Also want to add that nobody else in the family has any knowledge of this due to them all having really strong religious views. They would have frowned upon him. He claims that later that night he saw a tall, dark figure standing in his window staring at him. He goes on to say that he often sees this tall, dark figure standing outside the house staring at him from the road. However, he says it's not the only experience he's had there. He says that one time he had laid down to go to sleep, and when he woke up, he was experiencing some sort of sleep paralysis. He says that he felt something crawling up his legs and he wasn't able to move. He says that it sat on his chest, covered his face, and whispered to him that it was okay and it would all be over soon, but he wasn't able to breathe. He says that he had managed to wake up and was really winded when he woke up. Now to the present time, almost 10-ish years. We're moving into that house, and it's our only option due to financial reasons. The room he kept seeing all this stuff in is where our daughter's room will be, and she's only 6. Also, his uncle lives in a camper right outside the house, and he has told me recently that he's been seeing the same tall, dark figure that my fiance saw at 16. Again, his uncle has no idea that it happened to him. Not sure if it's related, but a couple of people living around the area have said that they've seen blue smoke. I guess I'm looking for advice for getting rid of the evil without removing his granny. Also, I'd love ideas or suggestions for all of the protection for our daughter and us as well, but I'd like to do all the protection that I can possibly put on her. Also, suggestions for cleaning, and also, does anyone possibly know what it is that he's summoned?
This comment's like, do not put your daughter in that room.
Yeah, right? You're like, that's going to be my daughter's room. It's like, why?
Yeah, no.
Why?
Opie like comments back like, definitely not until it's gone. That's not even a question. And the poster responds back, thank God. That's asking for childhood trauma.
Yeah, you're like, hey, I know that this room is haunted, but that's going to be your room, sweetie. Yeah.
You're gonna have a friend in here. Yay.
Yeah. Well, the sleep paralysis, I'm like, what if it was his granny? She's like putting a pillow over his face.
She's like, you're such a little shit.
Yes. She's like, I know that you brought this demon here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know what? She probably does know now that she's dead and roaming around the house.
Yeah, it's like when you're in phasmophobia and you die and you can see the demon whenever it starts hunting.
Exactly.
You can, like, follow it around. Yeah.
I would say, I'm sorry, like, Granny's gotta go too. Like, if it's between, like, keeping a demon and Granny or possibly getting rid of both, sorry, Granny. Like,
yeah, and I'm sure Granny doesn't want to live in a house with a demon anyway, and she probably doesn't want to live in that house, period. Like,
right.
If it was me and I was like a ghost, I probably wouldn't want to be a ghost for that long. You know?
I
like,
want to move on.
Yeah, let me go to the better side, the good place. Let me go to the good place.
Yeah, whatever it is, get me out of here.
Yeah, I would not want to stay in that house forever. I think I'm gonna die in this house. Yeah. But, I mean, it's kind of crazy that he just kind of, like, didn't bring that up for a long time, and then they started moving back in the house, and he's like,
by the way,
oh, yeah, so I actually summoned a demon, and I think that demon's still here, so.
Yeah. What date would you want that to be told to you on?
I wouldn't require it to be told to me on any date in particular because it's like a house. Like, he summoned a demon at a house and that demon is now attached to that, like, property.
Yeah.
Or whatever entity it is. It might not even be a demon. But if the idea of, like, hey, we're gonna buy my childhood home and move back into it, like, that all would have to come out, like, immediately, like, before that was even a possibility of us, like, moving into that home. Like, the second, like, he was any inkling in his mind was like, maybe at some point in the future we'll buy that house. Like, hey, I want to buy this house in the future. Also, infested,
right,
with demons.
By the way,
yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, sorry.
Oops.
And then I can be like, you know what? Maybe we don't buy that house.
Yeah.
Maybe we do something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we live like our uncle in a trailer outside of the house.
Yeah, a tent on the front yard, perhaps. Like,
yeah, options.
Yeah, tear this one down, then bless the land, and then build a new one.
Yeah,
yeah,
that works, right?
Yeah,
Salt
we can
the
like
earth.
we can do things to honor Granny, and you can still talk to her like she's here. But
Right.
yeah, there is a small update. It says update. I've contacted a Prius.
It's actually the car that shows up.
You got a plug in for me? I've contacted a priest who will be blessing my home for a couple of times. I've also heard a lot of recommendations on here and from some family to try Christian music, and as I'm not comfortable doing this while I have to be there to listen to it constantly, I will be playing some on a loop for a few hours while we're gone from the house. I'm also working on getting a few protection rings for the 3 of us. We'll start taking action this weekend.
That's imagining Christian rock.
I was like,
on a loop.
I was also imagining that, and I was imagining, like, what if they had, like, a home invasion, like, while they're gone, and these guys, like, break into their house, and they walk in, and it's, like, Skillet, like, or, like, some other, like, Christian band just, like, absolutely, like, blasting through the house,
Yeah,
and it's like,
level
you
10.
raise me up, and they're like, hey, maybe we don't. God is obviously watching.
Right.
God is in this house.
This is a sign.
Yeah, we need to leave. So we need to repent too. You know what? We
Right.
need to start going to church again.
They become priests.
Yeah. They stop everything. They move into a, what are they called? Monastery?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They become monks.
Monks.
They shave the middle part of their head.
I thought they shaved their whole head.
There's like the medieval ones, right? That have the
Oh, yeah.
the
I
skullet.
don't know. The skullet, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I hope that the
I hope you guys figure that out.
yeah.
Also, he didn't accidentally summon something. He
He
intentionally
did it on purpose. Yeah.
you know,
he did the ritual because he was dared to.
Right, the goal was achieved. He did what he set
Yeah.
out to do. So
We should do a, not here, but like maybe we do like a staycation
yeah.
and we like rent a hotel room. Maybe we go to the Oxford. Okay. And we do like Bloody Mary, and we do like the elevator game, and we like try all of these like,
I'm gonna pee my pants. I would need to be in the tropes of people in horror movies. I would have to be a bit of the stoner on this one, because then I would feel a little more brave than I would normally. But also, does that make you a little more susceptible? Who knows? Because when we did our ghost tour, when we were in the basement of the Celtic, I was sitting there and I like got a rush of cold air, possibly the edible kicking in. But because I was stoned and not just like susceptible to freaking out to everything, I looked up and saw an air vent right above me, and I was like, "Oh yes,
yes, the AC must have kicked on."
debunked."
Yeah.
Yeah, me sober would have been like
Yeah.
a ghost. Too
Yeah.
vigilant. I need to be less vigilant. Which
Yeah.
it doesn't seem good, right?
No.
I don't think you want to be less vigilant if
No.
you're summoning a demon.
Yeah, you want to like look
wanna
up
be
at
on
all the
it.
signs, yeah.
Yeah.
But in like it within reason, because then it gets to a point where you're like for example, in Ghost Adventures, they're like walking around a haunted hospital or something, and they're like they like hear something like clank, or they hear like a creak, and they're like, "Oh my god, ghost." Me in my house, I hear something clank or get thrown around or like creak, and I'm like, house
Right.
sounds.
Ice machine.
Yeah, and I like there's always something that my brain is gonna like associate it to. So it's a hard, and it's like a fine line to walk, because there are some things where you want to, especially if you're in the mindset of like, I'm ghost hunting, I'm looking for these things. You're gonna, it's the same way if you're like, I want to see a blue beetle on the road.
Right.
You're gonna see blue beetles everywhere. So if I'm thinking I'm ghost hunting, I'm looking for signs of a ghost, you're gonna start seeing signs everywhere.
Right.
And that was one thing when we were on our ghost tour. I feel like I was super hyper vigilant and I didn't experience anything.
No.
So that's like, I was like, there ain't no ghost here.
Yeah.
Because I'm not feeling anything. I'm not sensing anything. Like, I didn't have any sort of experience, which like you can't expect. But like when you're like super hyper vigilant and you're looking for any sort of sign,
Right.
then you're like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah. I was like very open and like seeing if I felt anything anywhere.
Yeah.
I just felt like I was having a nice time with my friends.
Yeah.
I have a wonderful time with my friends.
Same.
Yeah. Juno wants to hang out with you more.
Yay.
At the end of the
so
night,
sweet.
she's like, I really like your friends, so if we could hang out more. And I was like,
oh.
they really like you.
Oh.
So yeah. Well, after that, I do think, yes, we should stay in the Oxford. I am a little apprehensive about summoning things.
Yeah, that's fair. I think we'd have a good time summoning things. Maybe, but I know that you guys would have more time, more fun time summoning us.
Summon us.
If you like, share, and comment and subscribe, you can summon us at any point. Comment on any of our videos, and we'll comment back. I pinky promise. Unless it's a weird thing, then I probably won't, or I might, and just like make it really sassy. But
just do it.
Yeah, just do it, just for funsies. You can find us on all of social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit. Yes. You can listen to us on any streaming platform. And all of it all of it is what was that _ the pod. And if you want to share your own story, you can do that on Reddit, or you can email us at whatwasthat.thepod@gmail.com.
We should get a little group of ladies together, specifically Alicia, because she like literally asked me, she's like, have you ever like done a Ouija board? And you've done a Ouija board.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do that.
Okay.
This is not going anywhere. It's just information for us.
Yeah, I think it'd be really fun if, wait, what was that?